Hey everybody, it's Angela and I am back with another process video, and this is for the Hop into Spring YouTube Hop by Cheeky Studio. And I was invited to join this hop by Tuesday Hubbard, and there are about a dozen gals participating in today's hop, so I will put a link to all their channels down below in the description box, so be sure to check them out. And as you saw on that intro screen, Cheeky Studio is actually having a 50% off sale on everything in her shop. So that is an awesome sale. And the code for that is actually Spring50, and it's just for March 23rd and 24th only. So I will also put a link to her store down below so you can check out that sale. And so now let me kind of tell you what I'm doing here on this layout. And as you saw there, I had two paper pads, and they're both pink paisley papers, and I just pulled out a couple sheets, I think, from each pad, and I'm cutting about 1 or 1 1/4 inch squares. I didn't really measure them, I just wanted some little squares. And then I also pulled out this kind of notebook paper, and my idea here was just to make a little patchwork of squares on here. And the picture that I'm going to scrapbook is of my granddaughters, and you can see that they're kind of sitting on a rock there, and there's the grays and blues going on, and then they also are wearing some of the pinks, and there's not any yellow in the photo, and that's kind of my unexpected pop of color, was the yellow that I pulled out. So now I'm just kind of trying to figure out where my photo would sit and disperse the colors evenly. And I'm just making it kind of like a central column of squares going up the page. And there's text on one of the papers that has like spring sayings, and I intentionally put some of them reading correctly, and then I put some of them kind of going up and down, so that you know that it's not something you're really supposed to spend a lot of time reading, but if someone does look at it, they'll see that it's just a bunch of spring outdoors kind of sayings on it. So I'm kind of deciding where I'm going to put the photo and what colors are going to show. And so I just have to move things around here a little bit. And I go to this point, and then I decide that I actually want to have the little boxes running off the top of the page. So I'm going to have to go here and cut a few more pieces. And I just use one of my squares that I've already got cut out as kind of a little pattern here. And I cut a few more squares. And then that way the colors will just run off the top and the bottom of the page. And I'm sorry that my layout's not completely in frame. I'll notice and fix that here in just a few minutes. So that is my main idea. And then what I want to do is use a bunch of florals kind of around the bottom of the picture, and then do another secondary cluster kind of at the bottom of that column of squares. I'm just pressing everything down. I used a little bit of the Scotch tacky glue to glue those squares down. Trimming off the top and bottom, so there we go. There's my base. And then I pull out my Cheeky Studio stash here and start pulling out. These are some florals from Wildflower set number 5. I'm just kind of pulling out some of those because they had just the perfect colors, kind of pinks and purples. And this is the winter flowers, and it has some beautiful pink flowers and some fronds in it as well that I want to use. And then I'm making sure to kind of pull out something to put down at the bottom so that I remember to repeat my colors. And then this is the Wildflower set number 4, and I've got it mixed in with the Falling for Autumn collection. And I'm not sure that the Falling for Autumn is still in her shop or not, but if it is, I will link it down below. but I don't think I actually use anything from the Falling for Autumn. I use mostly Wildflower set number 5, a little bit of set number 4, and some of the winter flowers. And then what I'm going to mix in with this are some of the Maggie Holmes stickers. I got a few of the Maggie Holmes items that have come into Tuesday morning. And so instead of hoarding them, I wanted to make sure to start using them right away and breaking into them. So I'm going to use the So Sweet Puffy sticker as my title, and it was the perfect color yellow. I mean, it really matched the yellow in the squares that I put in the background. I also pull out one of these fringed butterflies, but it doesn't make it on the page. It's just a little bit too big. So I go ahead and I map my photo on some of the pink, just to make it kind of stand off the background there. And I do wind up cutting a little bit of pink fun foam to put on the back of my photo just to kind of lift it up a little bit. So that's going to go there. And then I took some of the gray, pink, and yellow background paper, or the paper that I used for the little squares, and I ran it through my die cut machine with just some generic floral dies, and I assembled a few flowers just so that I can bring some of the same colors from those background squares into my flower clusters. And I also ran a few fronds through, boy, that's a tongue twister, say that a couple times, some fronds through my die cut machine as well. And now I'm just using some hot glue and kind of making sure I represent all the different colors. And I just love the variety that are in her collection packs, because you get the little fronds and leaves and stuff in all of them, and then you also get the floral clusters and single flowers, and then you get various sizes of flowers. So they really lend themselves well. You can tell that Tuesday is a scrapbooker, so when she designs her ephemera packs, you know, she kind of knows how the end user is going to use them on a scrapbook page. So she really includes just the right things in the collection packs. So I'm looking for a few more items. And this was probably the longest part, was just fussing with the florals, but that's the most fun part. So now that I've kind of got it figured out, I'm just going to take my hot glue and start sticking them down. And I put some of them up on the photo and then some of them poking underneath the photo. It just kind of helps incorporate the photo into the layout. It makes it part of that floral cluster instead of just sitting on top of it. And then I'm going to cut the So Sweet title into 2 words and stack them. And I'm going to stack them just below that top floral cluster, and it'll kind of bridge the gap between the top cluster and the secondary bottom cluster. So you can see I'm just going to take more of the wildflower ephemera and put it at the bottom. So I get that stuck down, and yeah, it was amazing how perfect the colors were. I try to fit that butterfly in, but it's like, no, it's just the scale's just too large. And I know that there's some other butterflies in the Maggie Holmes ephemera pack, so I figure I'll just get one out of there. So I'm using, again, some of the same flowers I used up top. I'm putting down at the bottom. And just distributing all the colors. I kind of overlap that flower over the title to kind of integrate that title. And then I grab a few of the little fronds that I cut out, and I stick those in there as well. I think I put one more up top just to bring a little of that gray color up there. And that's pretty much everything for the florals. So I go into these word phrase stickers, and they were kind of a creamy white versus my kind of bluish white background paper. So I put one as the subtitle here, and the other two that I use, I stack on top the squares. I didn't want them directly on top of the background paper since the whites were so different. And then I look in the puffy stickers, and first I pull out this bow and I use a bunch of hearts for the flower centers, but they were just a little bit too big, so I wind up taking them off. I do keep that bird puffy sticker and the butterfly that I put on there. And there you can see the hearts that was just too much, too bold, too big. So I go ahead and I take those off, and I go into my stash and I look through my enamel dots and my gems and stuff like that, and I come across some really old stickers that I think I got at the dollar store. And you'll see them here in a second. There they are. They're just little tiny kind of holographic little flowers. And there's one that's kind of pinkish, one that's kind of bluish, and one that's yellow. And so that's perfect for my color theme. I just go ahead and I pull and put a pink one on the pink, yellow on yellow, blue on blue. And they're tiny, but they're perfect because they give that little bit of sparkle. And I lost one of them. A little bit of sparkle and kind of finish the flowers off. And then the word phrase sticker underneath the title is actually in gold, so it kind of ties in the gold sparkles. All right, so I go through, I make sure everything's really glued down. Some of those stickers didn't have a lot of sticky, so I just go through either with my hot glue or my wet glue and make sure those are all glued down. And then I decide it still needs something, and I don't want to frame it since I made my center columns run off the top and bottom. So I decide to just put some of that yellow paper over on the right hand side. And so I grab a punch thinking I'm going to punch these along the edge and then put the yellow back there. Yeah, but I kind of mess up my punch here in a second. And I'm like, well, never mind. I'll just cut that off. You'll never know. And I'll put the yellow down the side. So I grab a piece of 12 by 12 paper here, and I'm going to use that to make sure that when I glue these two pieces together, I make it 12 by 12. And so that just kind of finishes it off, putting that little yellow stripe down the side. And I really love how it turned out. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. Take a look down below and check out all the links for everyone else that's in the hop. I can't wait to see what everyone has made. And if you have any questions or anything, just leave them down below. And also check out the Cheeky Studio shop and see if there's something there that you fall in love with, and you can get it for 50% off for a couple days. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.